#WeAreMovieClub.
Hi guys, it's Charlie and welcome to a We Are Movie Club review, and today I'm reviewing the 1990 film The Hunt for Red October, starring Sean Connery, Alec Baldwin and someone I genuinely thought was Vladimir Putin for a moment there. This is a Cold War film and focuses on the Soviet sub Red October, which Sean Connery is piloting but is attempting to defect onto the American side. And throughout the film you see this sort of go from a pipe dream to reality. You have people trying to stop him, people thinking this is absolutely crazy, and the Americans. But the plot starts with Connery's character starting as the commander of this sub, and he already knows he wants to defect, but the crew don't know it yet. And he then goes and kills his sort of second in command, but the only other person that already knows the orders of the ship or what the mission's going to be. Puts fake ones in and then essentially does a runner for the American border. Lets his crew know about halfway in, and they're sort of shocked and sort of convinced it won't work. But I think at the same time they realise that if they don't play along, then it definitely won't work. As it gets further on, you get the introduction of the Americans and Alec Baldwin's character, who works out that Connery is essentially wanting to defect and is trying to come up with a way of not allowing it to happen, but basically to stop some kind of massive confrontation between the Americans and Soviets. And it progresses to the point where at the end of the film where they're all on the same sub and the Soviets are now firing on said submarine, and it looks as though the Red October has been sunk, but actually it hasn't, and you see the film ending with them sort of sailing into America and what looks to be a happy ending. It's a good film. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot to like about this, so let's talk about the positives. Positives for me are definitely the story. I thought the story was very believable. It was very appropriate, might be the word, or realistic at least, of the tension of the situations that would have been going on in the 1980s. You're getting towards the end of the Cold War at this stage, and suspicion between the two powers is as strong as it's ever been, really. There's little historical references thrown in, and makes a reference to Cuba, which was quite nice, and it does feel like a believable story, and it doesn't feel as though it's too outlandish. And the idea of Soviet defection is definitely something that's historically accurate. Whether these characters are based on anything or not, I don't think they are, but nevertheless you definitely get a feeling that the story is one that could be based on something. Characters as well are a real strong point here. Connery does really well. Baldwin, for the Americans don't really need to do anything too major in this film because they're just playing the sort of other side here. The focus is definitely on the Soviets here. But I think for what they did really well. The one thing I liked about the characters most was Connery's second in command. I've forgotten his name now, but when he's sort of coming round to the idea of actually settling in America, and he's talking about where he wants to live in America and the fact that he wants a car, and you almost see the visual excitement and joy in himself when he discovers he doesn't need paperwork for this. He doesn't need to go through a shed load of registration. He's getting away from all of the Soviet lack of stuff, the incompetency, the bureaucracy. He's getting away from all that, and he can live where he likes, he can do what he likes, and you can see how motivating this is to him. And again, it's the realism of the story that really pulls through here and makes the characters so much more accurate, so much more believable, and it added that other layer that really made me love this film a heck of a lot more. Negatives, well, there aren't too many. I mean, it's a good film. It's a 2-hour film, so if this is your kind of thing, as it is for me, then that's not going to bother you because the story goes quite well. I think there's a bit of a lack of development on the American side, and even though I just said that you don't really need too much in it, it would maybe have been nice to have fleshed out their side of it a bit more, but that's just me nitpicking, really. Another one is an entirely script-related point where they flip, especially at the beginning, in the first 10 or 15 minutes, where the Soviets flip between the two languages. I mean, it's okay for someone like me, for example. I've got a bit of a Russian knowledge of the Russian language, so I could just about understand what was going on without the need for subtitles. But for somebody that's trying to watch this as like a background film or something like that, you're a bit buggered, especially when he then just sort of slips into English and it sort of carries on as though nothing has ever been out of sync. So if you're going to do that, stick to one language. Don't flip between the two. The little interchange right at the very end between Remius and Ryan is fine, but don't have it at the start of the film in the same scenario. But overall, I would heartily recommend this film. If Cold War or Soviet American things is your kind of deal, then you're definitely going to like this film. It's also a chance to see Sean Connery in something a bit different, something that's kind of like Bond but not quite. So if you're a Sean Connery fan, then yeah, definitely check this out as well. So it ticks all the boxes, really. I picked this, actually. This was my pick for We Are Movie Club this week, and it is one I would definitely recommend. It's on Netflix, so go and check it out. Next week we're going back to camera, and I think he's picked Not Another Teen Movie, which is going to be interesting to say the least, because She's All That didn't entirely resonate with me, but we'll see how that goes. If you want to take part, then by all means do. All you've got to do is just watch the pick and then upload your review to YouTube with hashtag and we can find you. That's all you have to do. It's easy. So thank you for watching my review today. Let me know in the comments what you think of this film as well, if you've watched it, or if there's any other Cold War films that you'd recommend, because it's definitely one of those markets that gets a lot of attention because of the different ways you can play it. So let me know. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.